Hi trader, Elite Currency here. My name is Chris. Today's focus is on Fibonacci sequence levels, and we have actually a neat name for that called the Wizz Tool, because we have an indicator, or a script better said, that actually applies this concept automatically. So hang on tight, we'll explain everything in this video. Basically, Wizz is a tool that is aimed at catching larger trends. It's a custom designed script, and we're going to discuss how you can let your winners run, in fact. And that's, of course, so important. One of the things you hear so often, a typical standard advice is cut your losses short and let your winners run. However, how many times have you actually saw or seen practical advantages or practical ways you can implement that? Hardly any, right? There's always this common phrase, but no practical help how to implement it. Wizz is here for letting your winners run. In our view, that is kind of the core value. Optimizing the exits and maximizing reward, knowing when the market is trending or consolidating, and the ability to catch those larger wins and letting the winners run. Because that's always a toss-up, right? It's always a difficult question. Do I exit now, or do I hope that price will go my way a bit more? And that is definitely something that crosses our minds, and typically it's difficult to choose. We might go for the profit and then beat ourselves up that the profit goes, or that the trade goes further, or we don't take the profit and then actually we don't reach the target, and we lost that gain, that profit gain on paper. So that's a difficult dilemma, and Wizz is here, a real practical tool to make that so much easier. It's a simple tool, very concrete and real, and makes things a lot easier. Why? Let's start right now. Wizz shows where the space is, and with space I mean literally how and where price will accelerate, where will it show momentum, and that will allow traders to catch those larger wins. In the image on the right, you see those purple lines basically indicating the Wizz tool and the Fibonacci sequence levels, and basically the space in between them is what we're looking for. So let's talk a bit more about Wizz and the details about adding it. First of all, what is Wizz? Well, it's basically a script that we can add manually to the MT4 chart. Once it's on the chart, what you have to do is just drag it to the chart, and all the levels are automatically added. So it's pretty simple. Once it's in the MT4 chart, the only thing we have to do is drag it to the correct spot. That's all. The Wizz itself is calculated, once again, based on Fibonacci sequences. And those levels, those Fibonacci sequence levels, basically represent the number of pips from the starting spot. And those are plotted on the chart, and they show the pip distance from the starting spot. Let's take a look at basically how it will help us, first of all. Well, depending on where price is in relationship to those Wizz levels, we can understand if the market is trending or ranging. That's the main benefit here. And if it is trending, we're going to see a good chance of an acceleration and an impulse away from the average, and basically price moving in mostly quick fashion in one direction. If it is within the consolidation levels, price will probably just go sideways, right? Of course, it could break out eventually. So it shows where are basically those trending zones, which makes it very useful for profits, take profits, basically targets and support and resistance levels. Let's take a look at some examples. So here you can see, again, the purple lines indicating the Wizz levels. And you can see how price accelerates here, where I have my drawing tool here, and then here again, between those purple lines. That's how we know what market phase we have and what expected space is visible. Let me explain in more detail. The pink line is always the baseline. That's level 0. That's the starting spot of Wizz. So when you have Wizz basically on the bottom or top, the pink line will correspond to that starting spot. Then you'll see the first purple level away from the pink level. That's what we call level 1. And you continue onwards as you go away from the pink level. You can start counting level 2, level 3, etc. as you go up or down. In this case, we have a upward example. So how do we know about when is it ranging or trending? What's that secret here or magic for understanding that? Basically, the key level is the third purple level. So the number 3, the third level away from the pink level, 1, 2, 3, that's the key. All right, if price is below it in this upward example, in this uptrend example, or above it in the downtrend example, then price is still considered to be ranging. And price is not really broken into an area where we'd expect a strong trend or momentum. However, if price breaks above it in an uptrend or below it in the downtrend, then that's what we consider the zone and areas where price is going to show a high chance of strong momentum. So price will accelerate from 3 to 4 and most likely from 4 to 5. All right? Realize that all these purple lines are support or resistance. So when price breaks above the third, there's a good chance it will go to the fourth. Right? But it doesn't have to necessarily go to the fifth. It could once it breaks above the fourth. So the trending, the most impulsive part, is between 3 and 5. If it breaks above 5, it's still trending, but it will be slower, most likely. It will be choppier, and it will not have the same kind of energy as it does between 3 and 5. So it could get into an area where price is considered to be overextended. Let's take a look at the differences depending on the currency pairs. Wizz does behave a bit different depending on the currencies that we look at. For instance, the pound is, of course, the Great British Pound is a large mover, typically moves a lot. Therefore, I'm more cautious in anticipating a range or trend. For pound pairs, for instance, I'd rather wait for price to break the fourth level before considering it to be in a momentum part, between 4 and 6 in fact. So let's take a look at an exact table here that we made, and basically you'll see in a comparison, basically typically Forex pairs, as I said, 0 to 3 is range, if price is between 3 and 5, it's trending, and overextending is 5 plus. That's this column right here. For Euro Yen, Euro New Zealand, Euro Odd, Pound Dollar, it's basically rather 0 to 4, 4 to 6, and 6 plus. But for certain pound pairs, I would say it is even stronger valid, this principle. Pound Yen, Pound New Zealand, Pound Odd are huge movers, and basically then I would definitely reckon with 0 to 4 as a range, 4 to 6 or even 7 as a trending environment, and an overextension above 6 or 7. So these are bigger movers, therefore the zones are a bit later actually compared to euro dollar, for instance. So what is the benefit of knowing these levels and knowing when price breaks through these levels? Well, big, because when price is between levels 0 and 3, we know that price is in the consolidation, and although of course it could break above the third to go to the fourth, basically we should expect a correction. And we can prepare for the breakout, but don't overestimate how far price could go. It could be better to be a bit more conservative about to take profits as well, because hasn't proven itself yet that it's really accelerating. Once price breaks above the third level though, then we can anticipate and prepare for a larger momentum to the fourth or the fifth level. And that's when it makes more sense to hang on to trades perhaps and aim for a bigger target. And again, beyond level 5 or 6, price is in a trend, but could be overextending a bit, and hence could also move slightly choppier than between level 3 and 5. Now, generally speaking, you might be wondering, okay, that's great, but what time frames can we use this Wizz tool for? And in my view, the best charts are the 15, the 30-minute chart, the 1 hour, and the 4 hour. That's what really this tool has been built for. But I think the principle is valid for, I think, all time frames. The script itself, the Wizz script, is best used for these 4 time frames. There is a bit of a difference between basically the script when used on an hour chart or 4 hour chart compared to a chart on 15 or 30 or 5 minutes. The levels are different, and that's because obviously on a 50-minute chart, a trending movement is not the same as, of course, a big movement on the hourly chart or 4 hour. When we see a big movement on the hourly or on the 50-minute chart, that might be just a small movement on the hourly. So that's why we have a difference here in levels. The level 1 on our chart or higher is actually 55 pips. And level 2 is 89 pips, and the level 3 is 144 pips. So, etc. Right? On a 30-minute chart or lower, we see actually lower pip values. Obviously, in that case, a 89 pip move on a 30-minute chart or 50-minute chart is a pretty substantial move for that time frame. So you see that the level 3 moment is 34 pips on this time frame, whereas it's 144 pips on the hourly chart or 4-hour chart. So each of these levels correspond to those number of pips. So when you see a level 5 on the hourly chart, that means that it has traveled, this particular instrument has traveled 377 pips from the base level, from the starting spot. All right, so that's a huge movement, and you can see that price is especially interesting when it breaks to 144 and then goes up all the way to 377. That's a wide zone and a lot of pips there to be caught. That's when you can expect also price to actually start to move impulsively towards the next level. Now, how do we use, or I should say, how do we place the Wizz tool? We use the bottom or top, but we do use a bottom or top that is specifically closest to the moving average. If we're looking at an uptrend, we would use a bottom that is at or just below the 144 EMA close. If we're in a downtrend, we would use a top at or just above the 144 EMA close. In an uptrend, if price gets close to it, but ultimately misses it and stays above it, above the 144 EMA, then that does not count. The Wizz tool is not reset, and the Wizz tool is just keeps at the same spot. Same for downtrend. If it misses the top, if it misses the moving average resistance by a bit, we don't change it. So we're always waiting for price to hit the 144 EMA. Like this, you can see price is moving away from it, then it hits it. Well, in that case, we had the Wizz tool here at this bottom. As you can see, the pink line is there. But after it hit the 144 EMA, we'll wait for a new bottom, and then we'll move the Wizz tool to that new bottom. And you can see that we'll be using the purple box for placing the tool from a new spot. So it wouldn't be this spot anymore, but in the purple box. So that's pretty straightforward, I hope. Always use the bottom or top closest or touching the 144 EMA. That's how we add the Wizz to the chart. Then we have to know where is the current price in relationship to Wizz, and then we're locating and aiming for the next or second next Wizz level. That's how we take the profit, and that's how we aim for targets. Let's take a look at an example. Here you see, for instance, price 1, 2, 3 not breaking the third level, hooking back to the first level. So if price would be bouncing and pulling back to this level, and we would take an entry right here, what level would we aim for? Because price has not broken above the third level, it would be prudent, probably the best, to aim for the third level. But once price breaks above the third level, then hooks back, for instance, here, and pulls back, what level would be better to aim for at this spot? In that case, since the third level has been broken, we can aim for the fourth, or perhaps even the fifth, depending on our analysis. So that's basically it. That's how you can use these levels to catch this big acceleration to the upside. Now, besides, of course, using it for targets, we can use it as support or resistance. We have to realize that often enough, Wizz gives great confluence to Fib levels itself, Fibonacci targets, and Fibonacci retracement levels. Installing the Wizz script, well, basically, you want to check out the video how to install indicators and scripts first of all. Then you want to add it to your chart. You want to drop Wizz on the correct place on the chart, as discussed already earlier in this video. And then you want to basically go to Inputs tabs. If you're looking for an upside market, you can just leave it. If you're looking for a downside market, downside targets, then you want to change sell for downtrend. That's the only thing you need to do, is click on buy and then change to sell, as this video is showing. And be aware that you can change those colors if you want. I'm using purple and pink, as you can see. So what you also want to do is add a 144 EMA close. Then you want to check, of course, the closest bottom or top, and then drag that Wizz tool to that level, to the high or low of that candle, to the low of the candle for upside or the high of the candle for downside, and then choose the side whether you're looking for up or downside targets. So that's it here. Once again, I'm emphasizing these steps. You can pause the video to basically look at this again in all your time, and take your time to go through it, but hopefully it should be clear and understandable. So all in all, Wizz basically a great tool for understanding where to find the targets, where to know where the zone is, where we could expect impulse and continuations and basically momentum, where price basically might not show that, and we want to be more conservative with looking for targets, and how to add the tool itself. It's all based on fibs. It's a very natural sync with the market. It's a very natural fit, connects well to all of the tools that we use. And if you're a big fib fan, then I think you're going to love this. Even if you're not, I think that this is one of those things that is semi-automated that you're going to enjoy no matter what. So thanks for your attention. Hope to hear good stories about the Wizz tool. You can write us through email or check us out, of course, on Twitter. We hope to hear your good feedback and questions through these emails and Twitter addresses. And wish you all great trading. Cheers.